The Rimfire Trainer. Every genuine long-range shooter starts at essentially the same place. A simple bolt-action rifle chambered in .22 long rifle, learning the exact same fundamentals of trigger control, breathing, and consistent cheek weld that every higher level on this entire list eventually builds directly on top of, regardless of how expensive or specialized that final rifle actually ends up being. That rimfire cartridge costs just a few cents per round compared to the several dollars a single centerfire precision round can run, letting a new shooter genuinely fire hundreds of rounds in a single practice session without the crushing ammunition cost that would otherwise make that same volume of repetition financially impossible for anyone still building basic fundamentals from the ground up. Many experienced precision shooters and coaches specifically recommend spending an entire season, if not longer, working exclusively at this rimfire level before ever spending real money on a centerfire setup, arguing that a shooter's own natural talent genuinely matters less at this early stage than simply logging enough total rounds and repetitions to build the exact muscle memory every single higher level on this list ultimately depends on. Rifles built specifically for this exact training role typically mirror the same general layout and trigger feel of far more expensive centerfire precision rifles, letting a shooter build genuine muscle memory that transfers directly upward once they eventually graduate to a rifle firing considerably more powerful ammunition down the road. Competitive precision rifle disciplines have even built entire rimfire-specific match series around this exact concept, letting shooters practice real position shooting, wind reading, and target transitions at a fraction of both the cost and the recoil a full centerfire match actually demands from every single competitor on the firing line. Many experienced instructors specifically recommend new shooters spend genuinely substantial time at this level before ever advancing further, arguing that fundamentals rushed too quickly at the rimfire stage tend to resurface as much more expensive and frustrating problems once a shooter finally graduates to considerably pricier centerfire ammunition and equipment. The entry-level bolt action. Stepping up into genuine centerfire precision means a shooter finally has to contend with real recoil, real cost per round, and real trajectory calculations a rimfire rounds flat. Forgiving path never actually demands at any practical training distance a new shooter would realistically encounter during their earlier rimfire practice sessions. Popular chamberings at this exact entry level typically include cartridges like 6.5 Creedmoor and .308 Winchester specifically because both rounds strike a genuinely practical balance between manageable recoil, widely available factory ammunition, and enough inherent long-range performance to keep a beginning shooter genuinely engaged as their own skills continue developing well past their first few range sessions and into genuinely serious, longer-range work. Budget-focused rifles built specifically for this entry tier prioritize a genuinely accurate barrel in action over any of the premium furniture or adjustable features found on more expensive rifles, delivering surprisingly capable practical accuracy for buyers who'd rather spend their limited budget on quality glass and ammunition instead of a fancier stock or additional cosmetic features that don't actually improve how the rifle performs on paper at the range. That specific trade-off, a comparatively basic stock and trigger paired with a barrel and chamber cut to genuinely tight tolerances, reflects a deliberate manufacturing philosophy chasing real accuracy on paper rather than any cosmetic feature a spec sheet might otherwise highlight to a first-time buyer browsing a gun store shelf. Weighing raw mechanical performance against every other consideration a more casual shooter might otherwise prioritize instead. Most shooters at this level are still working out fundamental positional shooting skills and basic ballistic calculations too, meaning the rifle's own raw mechanical accuracy potential genuinely exceeds what the shooter holding it can reliably extract from it at this specific stage of their own developing skill level and range experience. That gap between a rifle's true mechanical capability and a shooter's own current ability to fully exploit it actually works in a beginner's favor financially too. since spending considerably more money on a more expensive rifle at this exact stage would genuinely deliver very little practical improvement until the shooter's own fundamentals catch up to match that additional mechanical precision already sitting largely untapped inside the barrel and action waiting to be unlocked with more experience. The chassis system rifle. A genuine chassis system replaces the traditional wooden or simple polymer stock entirely with an aluminum or polymer skeleton frame, providing fully adjustable length of pull, comb height, and often an integrated bipod mount that a fixed, traditional stock simply can't offer any shooter regardless of body type, shooting position, or the specific layers of clothing they might be wearing depending on the season and weather conditions. That modular chassis design also typically accepts detachable box magazines rather than the fixed internal magazine many entry-level rifles still rely on, letting a shooter reload considerably faster during a time competition stage or simply carry multiple preloaded magazines into the field rather than feeding individual rounds one at a time through a traditional hinged floor plate mechanism most beginner rifles still ship with directly from the factory floor. That adjustability matters considerably more than casual observers might assume too, since a rifle properly fitted to an individual shooter's own specific body proportions and preferred shooting position genuinely shoots more consistently than an identical rifle forced into a one-size-fits-all traditional stock design that simply can't accommodate every possible shooter comfortably. Competitive shooters specifically training for precision rifle series matches overwhelmingly favor chassis systems at this exact price tier, since PRS competition demands rapid position changes across barricades, vehicles, and other improvised shooting positions that a chassis rifle's quick adjustability genuinely accommodates far better than any traditional fixed stock design ever could manage across an entire multi-stage match. This level also typically introduces a shooter's first genuine precision optic paired with a proper ballistic turret system, moving beyond simple duplex crosshairs toward the kind of mill-based or MOA-based adjustment system serious long-range work actually demands from anyone hoping to hit targets consistently well beyond a few hundred yards. That specific optic upgrade often represents just as significant a jump in real practical capability as the chassis system itself does, since a shooter can only translate a rifle's own inherent mechanical accuracy into actual hits on target if their optic lets them dial precise, repeatable adjustments for both distance and wind rather than simply guessing at holdover using an ordinary duplex reticle never designed for that exact purpose. The semi-custom precision rifle. Semi-custom rifles combine a premium, hand-selected barrel with a match-grade action built to considerably tighter tolerances than any mass-production rifle typically achieves, while still relying on established, proven components rather than every single part being individually fitted from scratch by a dedicated gunsmith working entirely alone on a single custom project. Barrel manufacturers supplying this exact tier typically hand-lap and individually inspect each barrel before it ever ships, a genuinely labor-intensive quality control step most mass-production rifle makers skip entirely in favor of faster, more automated manufacturing processes better suited to producing thousands of identical barrels rather than a comparatively small batch of premium ones built for genuinely discerning buyers. Manufacturers building at this level often offer genuine caliber flexibility too, letting a buyer select from several different precision cartridges on the exact same action platform depending on their own specific intended use, whether that means extended range steel competition or genuinely serious big game hunting at distance across genuinely varied terrain and target sizes a single fixed caliber option might not handle equally well. That combination of premium components and real manufacturing consistency lets a semi-custom rifle routinely deliver sub-half MOA accuracy directly out of the box, a genuine precision threshold separating this tier from the merely good accuracy a well-built entry-level rifle can achieve with the right ammunition and a patient shooter working through careful load development. Reaching that same sub-half MOA standard consistently, shot after shot across genuinely different weather conditions and barrel temperatures, demands a level of manufacturing quality control most entry-level and even mid-tier chassis rifles simply weren't built to guarantee on every single unit rolling off an otherwise identical production line manufacturing thousands of rifles a year. If you've ever wondered how many tiers separate a beginner's rifle from something a military sniper actually carries, that's the kind of full picture this channel keeps mapping out. Subscribe if you want. The next one explained the same way. The issued sniper rifle. Military and law enforcement issued sniper rifles have to satisfy an entirely different set of requirements than any civilian precision rifle ever needs to consider. Surviving genuinely harsh field conditions, extreme temperature swings, and years of hard field deployment while still maintaining the exact same reliable accuracy on the very last day of service that it delivered brand new, out of the box straight from the original manufacturer's own factory floor. Government procurement contracts at this level also typically mandate a documented parts interchangeability standard too, meaning any single rifle in an entire issued fleet can accept a replacement barrel, bolt, or trigger group pulled from spare inventory without requiring any individual hand fitting. A genuine logistics requirement. Civilian semi-custom rifles built one at a time simply never need to satisfy across their entire limited production run. Designs like the SR-25 platform and various bolt-action military rifles built at this level typically undergo extensive, independent government testing, well beyond anything a civilian manufacturer's own internal quality control process demands, including deliberate torture testing specifically designed to find genuine failure points before a rifle ever reaches an actual deployed unit relying on it under real combat conditions. That institutional testing requirement genuinely shapes design priorities at this level too, since a military or police procurement contract values proven, repeatable reliability across an entire fleet of identical rifles considerably more than squeezing out the absolute maximum theoretical accuracy a single hand-tuned example might achieve under perfect range conditions. A deployed unit will genuinely never actually encounter in the field. Snipers issued rifles at this exact level also typically receive dedicated armorer support and scheduled maintenance intervals. No civilian shooter's own personal rifle ever benefits from. A genuine institutional support structure that keeps an issued sniper system performing consistently across years of hard use, well beyond what any individually maintained civilian rifle could realistically match on its own without that same dedicated professional support behind it. The Modular Multi-Caliber Elite System. The most advanced precision rifle systems fielded by elite military units today build around a genuinely modular chassis specifically designed to swap barrels and calibers in the field, letting one single rifle serve multiple distinct roles depending on exactly what a specific mission actually calls for on any given operational day without requiring an entirely separate weapon system carried alongside it. Systems built to this exact standard typically let a trained operator change from one caliber to an entirely different one in roughly 10 minutes using nothing more than a torque wrench. A genuinely remarkable feat of modular engineering that would have seemed nearly impossible on precision rifles built just a couple decades earlier when swapping calibers still typically required sending an entire rifle back to a manufacturer's own dedicated gunsmithing shop. That quick change capability genuinely transformed how elite units actually plan and equip individual missions, too. Since a single rifle case could now theoretically carry multiple complete barrel and bolt assemblies covering several distinct cartridges, letting operators make a genuine last-minute caliber decision based on updated mission intelligence rather than committing to one fixed chambering days or weeks before actually deploying into the field. U.S. Special Operations. Command adopted exactly this kind of modular system as its own standard issue precision rifle specifically because that same caliber flexibility lets a single procurement program equip snipers across dramatically different mission profiles, from urban counter-terrorism work to extended rural surveillance, without maintaining several entirely separate rifle platforms and their own dedicated logistics chains, spare parts, inventories, and specialized armorer training requirements. That consolidation genuinely simplifies an already complex procurement and logistics burden too. since a single modular platform capable of covering multiple distinct roles reduces the total number of separate weapon systems a military organization needs to design training curriculums around, stock replacement parts for, and budget procurement funding toward across an entire branch of service and every unit within it. The Anti-Materiel Rifle. At the absolute top of the entire precision rifle hierarchy sits the Anti-Materiel Rifle, chambered in .50 BMG, a cartridge Browning originally developed for the M2 machine gun in the late 1910s before precision rifle designers repurposed it decades later, specifically for engaging equipment, vehicles, and fortified positions at genuinely extreme range. No other cartridge covered anywhere earlier in this entire video could realistically reach with comparable terminal effect. These rifles typically weigh between 25 and 35 pounds fully equipped, a genuinely massive weight increase over every lower level on this entire list. But that added mass directly helps manage the cartridge's own enormous recoil impulse well enough for a trained shooter to actually reacquire their target and fire an accurate follow-up shot without needing to fully reset their entire shooting position between rounds. Both semi-automatic and bolt-action designs exist at this exact top tier too, each pursuing a genuinely different priority entirely. Since a semi-automatic anti-materiel rifle trades some raw precision for the ability to deliver faster follow-up shots against multiple separate targets, while a dedicated bolt-action design sacrifices that same rate of fire specifically to squeeze out the absolute maximum theoretical accuracy. The enormous .50 BMG cartridge can realistically deliver at genuinely extreme distance against a single, carefully selected target. A Canadian Special Operations sniper reportedly used exactly this class of rifle to record one of the longest confirmed sniper shots in documented combat history, striking a target at a distance exceeding 3,500 meters, a genuine testament to how far the combination of raw cartridge power, precision engineering, and years of specialized elite training can ultimately push what a single well-placed shot can actually achieve under real combat conditions. That record-setting shot required considerably more than just a capable rifle too, since accurately engaging a target at that extreme distance genuinely demands a dedicated spotter working alongside the shooter, precise atmospheric data, and a ballistic calculation accounting for factors like the Earth's own rotation that simply don't meaningfully affect a shot fired at any of the shorter distances. Every earlier level on this entire list typically involves during normal training or deployment.